So we reset the grid for the resumption of the X30 Junior Superheat here at Karting Genk. The grid is due to be as follows. Ludwig Granquist starts on pole position. Thijs van House alongside. Lionel Munguia and Ches Pedersen on row 2. Zoltan Koigny and Theo Polican row 3. Row 4, Trent van Melk and Lucas Pellizzari from the Netherlands and Luxembourg, respectively. Gregory Korblicek from Germany starts 9th, ahead of alongside Lewis Boots from Belgium. Joshua Lawson and Adam Bourne round out the top 12, ahead of Len Gukman and Louis Bieland. Sacha Duquet and Gauthier Maquet round out row 8. Row 9, Ronan Kamphaus, Linus Dijsted, Dorian Grandjean and Edouard Godefroy rounding out your top 20. Jules de Koen due to start alongside Charles van Killecon, who had that impact with the foam barriers just by the timing beam. Starts 22nd. Isaac Zahiri, Mathis Mouche and Antoine Boots round out the grid. Mohamed El Bouzaki will be a non-starter once again. So, one formation lap, and then we get the grid into order out of 12 minutes plus an additional lap of racing. So the drivers will now start to line up in the customary 2x2 rolling start formation. As they come out of the final corner, the drivers will be instructed to slow as they head into the tram lines, and then we have the acceleration phase to see if the lights go out. Drivers instructed to slow into the tram lines, revs up. Lights on, lights are out, and the superheat gets going for X30 Junior. Granquist leads the way. Munguia right behind. They both manage to keep Van House at bay. And Granquist holds on to the lead through into turn number 2. 3 wide. Someone nearly goes grass tracking to the outside and loses about 4 or 5 spots in the meantime. And now it's side by side for the race lead. Granquist versus Munguia. And to the inside, I think there might have been just a change for the lead. And it is Lionel Munguia that leads the way. But here comes the fast-charging Dutchman in the form of Ches Pedersen. He's just gotten up into second and has got through on pole sitter Linus Granquist. And I think maybe that could be Theo Polican in 4th position. Trying to look to the inside through at turn number 11 is the 187. And just behind them, Thijs van House, who started on the outside of the front row, has dropped to 5th position, but leading the way. Munguia leads. Pedersen right behind him, about 2.5 tenths of a second or so adrift. Polican, Granquist. Then it's Thijs van House. Trent van Melk has made his way up into 6th position. Ronan Kamphaus has jumped up the order 10 places and runs 7th. Head of Korblicek. Gurkman up into 9th. Duquet up into 10th. But the top 2 have broken away to the tune of about 1.2 seconds. But Ches Pedersen, new signing at Victory Lane for 2026, is closing in on Munguia. And where is Pedersen going to try and attempt the overtake? That's the big question. But there's still plenty of this race to go. We are nearly 2 minutes of the way through this 12-minute plus an additional lap encounter. And there's a big gap between Len Gukman and Sacha Duquet, which last time around was to the tune of about 2 seconds. And Pedersen finding some space, and he nearly dives up the inside through at turn 2 on Munguia to get the race lead as they head towards turn 5. Pedersen to the inside, and he gets the move done. Munguia might have the opportunity, but Pedersen signals to him and says, right, work with me. But despite the fact they're from opposing teams, sometimes it can be to your betterment that you work with the individual that's either behind or in front of you. But they have got Théo Poliquin, the 187 from France, trying to close them in. Unfortunately, Zoltan Coigny has retired from the race, so a real shame for the youngster from Switzerland in the 135. It might have been the cart that was pulled off before we got going again. Black and white warning flag to the 111 of Sacha Duquet as Munguia returns the favour through at turn 1. Retakes the lead off of Pedersen, who was trying to get through at turn 2. Stays in the wheel tracks of the 121 in front. And Pedersen takes the tighter line through at turn 5. He takes a quick look over his right shoulder, sees Théo Poliquin not that far behind him. And looking at it from this perspective, Poliquin has taken a chunk of time out of race leader. Pedersen, well, it was nearly 0.2 of a second over sector 1. Sector 2, Poliquin has just gone purple. 17.03. A tenth and a half quicker than Pedersen, who is trying to see if he can find a way through on Munguia across the line. Tenth and a half between the two at the front end of the field. And Munguia does a nice job of keeping Pedersen from getting past him. Just stays on the line on the run into turn 1. Now up to 5 once again. Biggest mover at the moment. Well, 1, 2, 4. Ronan Kampfhaus started 17th. Now is up into 4th position, having just got past pole sitter Ludwig Granqvist from Sweden. The last time around, after 4 laps, it was just over half a second, as Poliquin is finding time in every single sector, every single corner. So the youngster from France trying to close in on the 2 Dutch drivers in front. 7 minutes to go, and the gap is 0.4 of a second. Pedersen again trying to get through on Munguia at turn 1. Munguia makes the back bumper as wide as humanly possible on the 119. Not allowing just Pedersen an opportunity to get through, but the 121 from Victory Lane dives to the inside at 5. Gets through. A little adjustment on the radiator there. Munguia returns the favour through at 6. And Poliquin is now with them. This is a 3-way scrap for the race lead as they hurtle their way through into turn 9. Over the line astern, coming out of the turn 6-7 chicane off of the Europolan. We're fast approaching the halfway point of this race, and Poliquin dives to the inside. Slight sidewall touching between him and Pedersen, and Poliquin gets through by a whisker for second position. The gap between the top 3 now 0.4 of a second. And Ronan Kampfhaus has just put in the fastest lap of the race, 56.917. And that was over half a second quicker than the 121 from the Netherlands in front of him. Meantime, Antoine Boots, one of the biggest movers up the order so far in this race, has gone up 12 positions, rounds out the top 13. But more to the point, Kampfhaus is absolutely flying on the 124 entry. So it could be a quartet very shortly. Kampfhaus is absolutely flying, like I said. He's gone purple in sector 1, purple in sector 2. Top 3 still lying astern. 5-second time penalty going to 130 Lewis Boots, who's tumbled all the way down to the bottom of the order. The top 4 now covered by just under 1.5 seconds. 0.379 of a second covers our top 3. As Poliquin to the inside. Pedersen's going to make it briefly 3 wide coming out of turn 5, and he says to Poliquin, right, just follow me. Munguia with the Redeka kart team doing a very, very good job of holding on to that race lead, but look at the gap. It is closing. The top 3 are hemorrhaging time to Kamphaus, who is closing as we speak. Now the top four covered by just under 7/10. It's going to be a game of musical chairs. Pedersen through on the inside of Munguia through at turn one. Polycarp trying to get through as well. Switches to the inside through in turn two. Bumps over the curbs. Munguia goes grass tracking and through goes Ronan Kamphaus. Running with KCR team. And again, well, Kamphaus punching really high above his weight in this race and just showing that he's had the presence of mind to just get through all the mess in front of him. Edouard Gauffoy now up into P10 ahead of Gregory Korblicek, as there goes Kamphaus up the inside of Polycarp, through at turn 10 at Cafe Corner and takes second position away from the youngster from France. So Kamphaus put in some blistering laps like he was qualifying, as we've got just under 3¼ minutes to go. Pedersen now leads. Kamphaus second, Polycarp P3. Munguia now has dropped a little bit further back in the meantime and is 1.7 seconds off. The top three at this moment in time cannot really be separated. Kamphaus is one of 3 drivers that has made up double digits worth of places gained. He's up 15 places and now will challenge fellow countryman Ches Pedersen for the race lead here in the X30 Junior Superheat. Now complete 10 laps of the 1.36 kilometre circuit. Black and white warning flag for 169. France's Isaac Zahiri. As now we have had a change for the lead. Kamphaus through on Pedersen. It was only 77 thousandths of a second behind the 1-2-1 from Victory Lane as they went across the line. Dived to the inside, got the job done, and Pedersen decided, you know what, I don't need to fight that. I'm probably in a better position now, staying in second or third, because as soon as you come out of that final corner here at Genk, the slipstream is quite massive, especially if you stay in the dirty air of the cars in front. Pedersen takes a look over his right shoulder, going down into turn number 10. But the way things are going, I think we're going to have 3 more laps to go after this. So lap 11 about to be completed. And Kamphaus, again, has gone purple in the middle sector. Could this be another fastest lap by the race leader? Not quite. Near enough, 56.998. There's a little bit further back. There is still some battling ways, so Ludwig Granquist has got through on Rebecca Kart team's Lionel Munguia. Thijs Van House is there in situ with them as well in the 140 entry. But with 40 seconds still remaining on the counter, plus an additional lap. Kamphaus has stormed his way from 17th on the grid and now leads and is starting to pull away. The sunshine once again starting to brighten its way over the circuit. There is a bit of cloud cover, but there is some sunlight bursting through the clouds, bringing warmth and a little bit of heat to the tarmac, which should hopefully help it to evolve. As Lionel Munguia gets through on Ludwig Granquist, and they are still battling away, going through into turns 3 and 4 as our leaders hit turn 5. Polycarp looks to be left a little bit in the wake of both Kamphaus and Pedersen, as Granquist and Munguia still squabbling over P4 with Van House waiting. Edouard Gauffoy has made his way up from 20th on the grid, now runs P8 and is ahead of the likes of Lucas Pellizzari and Antoine Boots, who ran at the top 10. Ches Pedersen now will get the hurry-up sign from the mechanic, because next time around it is going to be last lap. So 1.36 kilometres left to go. And it is going to be the case of can Ches Pedersen try and get through on Ronan Kamphaus at turn 1? Not quite. Pedersen's got to wait for his time to get through. Stays in the wheel tracks through turns 2, 3, and now 4 into turn 5. And Pedersen's going to take the tighter line, but then slot back in behind Kamphaus as they go down the back straight away. For the last time here on lap number 14, out of 14. Both bump over the curbs through turns 6 and 7. Through 8 for the final time. Can Ches Pedersen try and get the run on Ronan Kamphaus? It could be a photo finish at the line as they go through into Cafe Corner. Just a few more corners remain. Turn 11, the left-hander, as they will accelerate down towards the final section. Where is Ches Pedersen going to place his kart? Through into the final couple of corners, and from 17th on the grid, it's checkered flag for Ronan Kamphaus from KCR Racing Team, who wins it ahead of Ches Pedersen by just over a tenth and a half. What a drive by this youngster from the Netherlands. Ronan Kamphaus for KCR wins the X30 Junior Superheat by just 0.164 of a second ahead of Ches Pedersen. Theo Polican rounds out your top 3 ahead of Leiden Munguia, and pole sitter for the Superheat like Ludwig Granqvist. Thijs van House, Tren van Melk and Edouard Godefroy round out your top 8. Godefroy made up 12 places from 20th on the grid. Lucas Pellizzari 9th ahead of Antoine Boots, who started last in 25th and ends up 10th. Jules de Koen made up 10 places to finish 11th. Len Gukman finishes 12th ahead of Gregory Korblicek, and Luxembourg's Matthias Musch and Denmark's Linus Dijsted round out your top 15. Louis Bieland, Joshua Lawson, Sacha Duquet, Adam Bourne, Gauthier Maquet round out your top 20, with Dorian Grandjean, Louis Boots, Isaac Zahiri and Charles Van Kerlecom able to finish the race. Zoltan Koini didn't get past lap 1, and Mohamed El Bouzaki, unfortunately, a non-starter. But Ronan Kamphaus, storming drive, making up 16 places to take victory in the X30 Junior Superheat.